Hello, hello. Hey, Facebook world. Hey, Larnie. Hey, viewers. And hey, beautiful souls that may be jumping into the live stream with us. I am Debbie from Debbie Lim Creative, and I have a very beautiful and special, dear to my heart, soul sister, friend, client, and guest on our beautiful live stream today. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to the amazing Larnie Crompton from Goldenfeather Alchemy. Larnie is an incredible, incredible sound alchemist, sound healer, divine sounds channel, hence the name of our live stream today. She is a quantum coach. She is a spiritual guide and mentor. She is many, many things. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's all the things. And as I said, I'm very blessed to call her one of my inner circle and soul sisters. So welcome, Larnie.
Thank you so much. You make me sound really awesome.
I know, it's because you are really awesome. Cool way. It's such a gift to do this. I got to be on somebody else's podcast yesterday, and when she read out the intro, I was like, I loved hearing that. And I feel like everybody should do this. Everybody should write a little intro for themselves and take a moment to recognize how awesome you are. You're awesome. So beautiful, Larnie. Thank you so much for coming on today. I wanted to jump on today, and you were the very first person that jumped into my brain to share some of my amazing, amazing clients and the work that they are doing in the world. You have so many gifts to offer and so much wisdom and knowledge to share. So I thought, what better way to start off than with Larnie, and we can dive into a little bit of, what is sound healing for people that don't know. What is it that you do in your business? I personally am really fascinated with one of the questions I have here, which is like, where did this all begin? And so we might actually start there, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Amazing. So first of all, let's just ease our way in with, can you just tell us a little bit about the work that you do with sound? And if you can weave into there, I would love to know, like, where did it all start for you? How did it all start for you?
The lady that used to bring the crystal bowls that I have now into New Zealand was offering sound baths, private sound baths, and I thought, I'm going to treat myself for my birthday. So I went up to Hamilton and I went and had this sound bath and was absolutely transported to somewhere completely different, and came out feeling really relaxed and yet energized, and it just was really quite amazing. And she would let people at that point play her crystal bowls. Would you like to have a try? And it was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. And I found that as I was playing them, that things were happening in my body that I didn't understand or didn't know what was going on, but it was like I just knew I need to do this. So it started there, and then a very dear friend of mine was leaving the country to live overseas back in her home country, and she bought me a crystal singing bowl as a parting gift, and that really kicked it all off. It was like, so now I have this very slight addiction to might be time for a new bowl.
What a good addiction to have too, right? Oh, I love how life just leads us into the right opportunities with the right people at the right time. And that's amazing, isn't it? Like, we all have to start somewhere, because I'm in awe of what you do, your bowl collection, and I've been lucky enough to receive your medicine. So once you'd gotten that one crystal bowl, like, did you have like quite a journey on your own? Was there any kind of courses or instruction that you found? I know you've got a musical background. Maybe you want to share a bit about, I'd love to know how your process has evolved over time, because clearly what you do, from my perspective, is very unique and the way that you work your voice in with the bowls. So how did
Yeah.
that all evolve from that one experience and one bowl to now you've got this amazing, and we'll talk about the bowls separately, collection and almost like your own modality of how you work with them. So how did that evolve?
Just by trial and error and accident. I wonder what would happen if I did. This is the bowl that was gifted to me initially, and this is a heart bowl, and it, I would play it and the frequency would come into my heart and just expand my heart so much. And after a while, it sort of, you'd have a slip of the mallet on the bowl and you'd make a different sound. And different people that would come and ask to experience the bowls would behave differently depending on who was in the room and what was going on for those people or that person at that time. So it really just has been a process of connecting into my higher wisdom and working with the bowls and a process of discovery.
I love that, working with the bowls. I was speaking into that earlier today about how people refer to programming crystals, and to be fair, I don't really know exactly what that is or what that means because I have quite the crystal collection. And for me, I've always just had a natural inclination to just sit with the crystal when it comes into my world and offer my energy to it and then receive from it and trust that sort of however it wants to weave with me is how it's going to unfold. So is that kind of similar to how you work with your sound bowls?
Yeah, so each of the bowls, because they all have different properties, they sort of have like personalities. I don't see them as inanimate objects. They're these beings of light. And because, if you follow the science of sound holds light and it enables light in the body. So, they each have their own sort of little personalities, and there'll be days when particular ones don't want to play or they don't want to be played in that way. They want to be tapped rather than, having the mallet run round the top edge. And it really just depends on what's going on, often for me and whoever happens to be around, and what's also going on in the environment. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that explains it very well.
Yes, it does. I think so. And I know there'll be people watching this that don't maybe know anything about sound healing or crystal bowls or how they work necessarily. And there might be people that are experts in that watching this. So it's all perfect. So you mentioned the science of sound, and I know that you've studied this, but you've also got an amazing channel and internal guidance and knowledge and wisdom about this. So for people like me that actually don't know much about the science of sound, I use sound technology, I suppose you call it technology, light language, toning, and had the felt experience of what that does, but I don't actually have much of the sciencey know-how. Is that something that you can enlighten us a little bit with?
I have a little bit, and it's really just from reading and research that I've done from people who are actually experts, they're scientists working in the field. And sound and vibration underpins all of the sciences. Doesn't matter whether you're talking biology, chemistry, physics, and also quantum sciences. So it's there underneath all of them. And I think the thing that fascinates me the most was learning that all of the nerves under our skin have the nerve endings actually absorb sound. So our body is, John Stuart Reid talks about our body being like a giant ear. We're not just taking sound in through the mechanics of our eardrums. We're actually taking sound in right through our skin and through into the body. And how I see it when I tap in to my higher wisdom, They see it coming in through the nerves and going into the spine, and then sort of making like a torus field, sort of like that donut shape, and it comes back out through the body, through the bones, through the soft tissues, and back out into the field around us, our electromagnetic field. And that's how, when we meet somebody that doesn't quite align with us, and we get a back off, or we meet somebody and we go, I've known you before. That's how we know. We recognize their frequency. Our frequency in our field recognizes their frequency in their field. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that visual of like the whole body receiving the sound and going through the whole system, and just, I'm always feeling like and then seeing it like, does it cleanse, and I want to say harmonize, I suppose, whatever's discordant within the body? Is that how you would sort of say that it works, in terms of like, if somebody's come to you for a healing, say there's something going on in their field and in their body?
Yeah. It depends what it is. How do I want to answer that? So the first thing it does is it helps people relax. It helps put them in that meditative, I can't remember the brain state. Is it theta? And it's,
I know,
you know, it puts them in that meditative state where they can just relax, and it sort of works its way in through the body. I have had people who have come to sound baths where there have been a lot of sounds that come together to bounce off each other, and people have said, oh, that just, made sensations in my body that weren't pleasant. And often that happens because there's something there that needs to be cleared.
Yeah.
And so, I'm using what I know about musical notes that work together, because each of the bowls has their own musical note. And I'm working with what I'm feeling is in the fields of the people who are in the sound bath. And the bowls are drawing me to sound particular combinations. And sometimes those sounds are very soothing and harmonic, and sometimes they are not. And there's always a reason for that. Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm sort of like, as an energy healer, I always see what that might look like in my mind's eye, so I can sort of imagine how some of those sounds would be the thing to kind of break through maybe a pattern or something that's getting sticky or stuck, tangled up, depending on what it is. Well, that's so amazing, really, because that's quite a lot that you're weaving together. You've got your musical knowledge, you've got your science of sound, you've got your being a very sensitive, sentient being in the room with all those energies, holding the space, working with the bowls, tuning into the bowls, and also just letting the trust and the channel flow at the same time. This sounds like amazing, really, when you think about it and break it down like that, because I've been in your sound baths, and it sounds so heavenly and so easeful and like natural to you. So that's truly amazing, actually. Yeah. Incredible.
Just from playing, I talk to them every day. People would think I'm crackers.
It's okay, I talk to my plants and my crystals too.
Yeah.
You know that you're with your right people when you've got the ones that talk to their plants and their crystals, or their crystal sound bowls.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, what else do we want to ask you? I'm just going to check. I've got a few little questions, but this is just so fascinating for me. I've just bought a set of bowls that were no longer needing to be required at Larnie's house, and I'm having so much fun just in that where you started, playing, and interesting to see which ones, yeah, like just like you say, some want to go one day and the other ones it's like you can just feel they haven't got a lot to give today, or they're not needed in the space. And the gift that it's been so far is that when I start playing them, what I find is family members are coming into this room here where I do all my healing work, where most of my family's been very uninterested in all my other modalities so far, from essential oils to Reiki to all the things, but the bowls have drawn them in. And I think it's something about music, isn't it? That, I don't know, what do you think it is, Larnie? Is it there's something about it that it's been my sister, my husband, my kids to come in, and they'll just, some of them just lie on the healing bed, and other ones like want to have a turn. And it's just blowing my mind.
I think the amazing thing about crystal singing bowls is that you don't actually need any musical training to use them. They're not, they're not like a guitar or a keyboard or a violin, as long as you're not hitting it too hard, you or doing anything that would break them, you can't do anything wrong with them.
I love that.
You don't need to know what they're doing. You just, I'll quite often say to children that come into my healing room, they'll see the bowls and their eyes get really big and they're like, wow. And I go, which colour do you like? Because they're all different colours. So they'll pick a colour, and so they might have 2 or 3 and I show them how to play, and they have a play with them. And there'll always be one that they keep coming back to. They're just drawn to it. And children absolutely love them.
Yeah, my daughter's been straight in and loving it. So really what I'm hearing is that you really just need your intuition, curiosity, and to just trust that they're going to do what they're going to do, and you don't really need to interfere or override it that much, although you can attain a level of mastery like you have.
I'm not sure I'm a master yet, but
or you're a master. So I have had how many proper full journeys with you too, and I will fully admit, although I am, a channel and healer and all the things, I find it very, very difficult to receive in meditations and sound baths and things from other people. I've got a crazy creative brain that will often just, I'll have 55 things going on in my head plus the person that's speaking into the meditation. And so maybe this is also to do with the crystal sound bowls as well as your genius and brilliance. But both times I have felt completely transported to another realm, both being in my body, but also a sense of being in another place. I've had amazing visions. I've had incredible sensations running through my body. I've had emotions. So, do you want to talk into, is there something in the crystal sound bowls, as well as, we'll get into your voice in a minute as well, that's going on there? Because I'm pretty sure I have, what some people would label as ADD, but I call it my creative brain. What do you know about how those?
What do I know about that? I think part of that is the awesomeness of you, and there are a lot of people, my husband being one of them, who doesn't do the woo-woo, but when he hops on the table sometimes when I'm in there playing, he'll just, and he's a bit ADD as well, he'll just melt and go into this altered state. And it's quite lovely to witness that people that normally would find it really difficult to relax can just drop all the keys at the door and come back into their body. And
I know, just because I've got intel having worked with you, so you can choose whether you want to speak into this or not, but I know that you were channeling some really interesting information about how the crystal bowls might help with those of us that struggle with that kind of creative jumpy brain, Do you want to talk into that at all or not?
Yeah, I mean, there's research going on at the moment. There's huge amounts of research going on, which we don't get to hear about, around sonocytology, which is the science of using sound to help heal cells in the body. There's research going on around using particular types of sound and frequency in educational settings, particularly to do with Montessori educational facilities, to see what impact that has in terms of facilitating states of relaxation rather than stress. And I'm absolutely fascinated, and it'll be something that I'll look into at some point, is how can we use sound, particularly for neurodivergent people, around the acquisition of literacy and numeracy. That's something that really interests me, because there's really not a lot happening in mainstream education, particularly in this country, around, you know, how we assist divergent in that sense.
That's really exciting, isn't it? Because it certainly seems to be something that we're hearing about lots more, even in people my age now, with so much more information available. We're able to kind of figure out that, oh, that's the reason why we can never sit still. That's the reason why we can't sit there and meditate. We have to go for a run, and okay, there's nothing wrong with me. But imagine that, you know, thankfully it didn't impact my education, but yeah, if you could help at that level. Because no matter where we go with the New Earth Rising and the school system, you know, evolving, shall we say, as it is or isn't, it's evolving towards a certain something, then there's a space there, isn't there, for new technology to come in and assist, because we're always going to need our language and literacy and numeracy, at least, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, there are schools, particularly overseas. There are some in New Zealand, but some overseas that are having profound results with starting and ending the school day with 15 minutes of meditation and breathing, and just in terms of dropping rates of aggression and violence, and higher rates of focus on task behaviour. And so it's starting to shift, but yeah, it's something I would love to do some research on at some stage.
Yeah, amazing. So I should have said in your intro too that Larnie, once upon a time, in another lifetime, was a school teacher. So once a school teacher, always a school teacher somewhere in there. And it sounds like in the future, maybe your work's going to cross over into that realm. So that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I said before, let's talk about your voice. So obviously another part of the evolution of how you have worked with your sound bowls is that, so I'll tell you viewers what Larnie does if you have not had the joys of receiving one of these, is that she will start to sing and tone and make her own sounds from within her own body with the bowls. And then what I've experienced too is that at some point it sounds like those two sounds become one sound, and it's quite something else. So do you want to speak into how that started evolving for you? I'd be really interested to see, when you started doing that, and how you've evolved that over time.
I don't actually know how I started doing that. I picked a bowl up during a session one day with a client, and the direction was, you know, from higher wisdom, was sing into the bowl. And I went, really? That's a bit odd. And well, that was my human mind doing that. And then I just thought, well, there's only me and her here. What does it matter? Let's have a go. So I just decided to do it. And what happens is that the sound is revolving around the bowl, and my voice goes in and pops back out, having been altered in some way by by the frequency of the bowl, and that then lands with the client, and that's the experience you had. It's expanding the love that I use when I do that work with my voice. It's expanding that and magnifying that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is a really big piece, maybe, is it? The heart frequency, that, because I know that, you know, that's something that you're so embodied in. So if you haven't had the joy of being in Larnie's space, like, I think the first time I had not quite met you, you actually sent me a couple of emails about helping you with something small way back. And I could actually literally feel the frequency of your beautiful heart through your emails. And I was like, who is this woman? And then being able to co-create with you through the modality trainings we've done together, through Larnie's now support coach for me in Soul Seed, which is like, I really feel has amplified the power and the potency of that container. So I get to receive a little bit from Larnie each month, and then I also get to coach Larnie, which is always, you know, it's a gift as well. And so, yeah, it's really clear to me that your heart capacity, your heart frequency is your unique medicine that you're here to bring through the world. And I suppose the heart is an amplification chakra, isn't it? Where we come into that sort of that oneness and source consciousness. And that's the experience I had in one of your sound baths, where it actually sounded like the whole sound, we're in a huge hall, wrapped around like the whole space felt full. Like it really is magical experience and process. And yeah, so I want to ask you a bit more then about in terms of your work and heart frequency, what is it that you're bringing forward? I know you're birthing some amazing containers that are coming up. What have you got going on at the moment? How do you want to speak into the heart? It feels like that's a really broad question.
Yeah, and it's sort of like my journeying for the last sort of 4 or 5 years since I got the bowls actually has very much been about the heart, and not in terms of necessarily anybody out there, but about finding my way back to loving myself. And in doing that, having more capacity to hold others in that frequency. And the bowls have really helped with that and magnified that. And so, yeah, I don't know if that answers the question. I work with these amazing grandmothers, a collective of grandmothers who are amazing energy beings. Some of them belong to my bloodline. Some of them are from other Indigenous cultures around the world, and some of them are from off planet. And so when I'm using my voice, that is what's coming through. So that, you know, I will open up and tap in and allow them to bring whatever sound and whatever codes they want to infuse through my voice. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
So sort of
who would not want to be in the receiving space of the wisdom and love of the grandmothers, right?
Yeah. You know, what's really nice about it for me personally is that I grew up without grandmothers. And it's like now I've got 9 of them.
Amazing.
And I haven't met them all personally yet. I have met some of them, but but I know they're there.
Incredible. And do you sometimes get messages and channeled, wisdom to share beyond sound codes when you are working in this way?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, particularly if I've got somebody, might be a client, sometimes it's just somebody I've met up with that is struggling or having an issue, or and they'll often pop through with a message for that person that makes no sense to me, but it resonates for that person and is helpful in some way. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, how amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about the name Goldenfeather and where that came from?
Yes. So Goldenfeather was a spiritual name that was given to me by a mentor, and she channeled that. And I, at the time I had no idea about a lot of these higher beings and things. And it has been a path that I've walked down to learn what Goldenfeather is. It is a frequency and an energy, and it comes through my maternal bloodlines. So I'm particularly connected to my mother's mother, and there are other grandmothers before her that help me with the Goldenfeather frequencies. And it's the frequencies of the heart coming through up through the voice and expressing in the world.
Beautiful. What an amazing, beautiful method, I guess, and modality of healing, because it just feels so divine. It's so, pleasant to receive and be in that space, even though, because like you say, the journey to self-love is often the hardest road to walk, isn't it? It's often so much easier to just throw your love out to everybody else, but to actually, what I'm seeing is like the crystal bowls, how you pour it in and they give it back to you. It's sort of like that divine reciprocity where you're allowing it in at the same time. And so many of us really struggle to allow it in, don't we?
Yeah, to receive. And, as we've discussed before, receiving ourselves is often the hardest part to receive.
Amazing. And so I want to talk a little bit about, we'll segue. Let's go. Can you also share with us, because you're also, the bio could have been so long, you're also an amazing grid worker. And that's something I'm just starting to dabble in myself now that I'm on this very beautiful piece of land here. For someone like me that doesn't know a whole heap about what is grid work and how does that work, how do you work with the land and the earth and into, and using all of the modalities that we've just spoken about? Or how did you get into that? Maybe that's a good place to start.
Yeah, how did I get there to start with? I came to the understanding a number of years ago that one of the things I was here to do was to help Gaia. And at the time it was like, oh, well, I need to recycle more and I need to do this and I need to do all these things. And then what I received was, actually, no, you just need to be who you are in your fullness. And yes, all those other things are great, and I needed to spend time connecting in with Gaia, because the frequencies that I bring through my heart and my voice can help. And so in meditation, that's where I always go. I always go visit Gaia, and there's always an exchange of energy. So there's some of my heart energy, some of her heart energy, and we mix it up, and I bring that back into my body. And so
so I started. Is it about then, like for those of us or people that maybe don't know much about grid work, it's not about needing to save the planet and heal the planet and put your energy in here. It really sounds like you're talking again that the job is an internal one, and that what you shift within you shifts within her.
Yeah.
So that kind of sovereign exchange.
Yeah, definitely. And then because of the crystal bowls that I have, they are channels of light. And so because I'm working with them and I'm anchoring that into the earth, Gaia's getting some benefit from that, from those frequencies. And it really started in my garden here at home, because we have, quite a reasonable sized property. And my husband created the garden for me, as that was his love offering, And so I quite often go and lie on the grass or sit under a tree or talk to the plants. And and it helps me relax, it helps the earth as well. And so after a while of doing this, what I realized is that when I get really still and really present, I can actually hear the earth frequency in the area where I'm living. And sometimes it's really, really strong. I know when we're about to get earthquakes, because that frequency shifts and changes. And once the earthquakes have run through, it's like the land has released a whole lot of energy, and that hum that I can hear deepens and isn't quite so present. So then I thought, well, I wonder, can I hear this when I go to other places? And when I'm busy doing, no, I can't. But if I sit and get really still and tap into the land, yes, I can. And then I started having some adventures with a dear friend. We'd go on little walks, or we'd go visiting a certain place. And she's very highly developed psychic, and she'd go, there's stuff here that needs healing. And so we'd go and find out, and we'd ask the land, and we'd ask the ancestors there, and we'd be guided. And we have these amazing grid working journeys where we go away for a weekend, and we'll be directed to go to a particular town or a particular area. And I don't know how it happens, but we just are open to whatever arises, and we have these amazing adventures.
I loved reading about the one that you wrote up on your social media recently, so maybe we can link that post underneath this, because I just thought, what just popped into my head as you were speaking then, because I know you two have done lots of these incredible adventures. Imagine a book of like Larnie and her amazing offsider, who's going to be a guest next week, your grid working adventures. Oh my gosh.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. Oh, well, on behalf of everybody, thank you for the work that you do on the land. As a person that's only been sort of, freshly rebirthed into the spiritual realm, community, I should say, awakened for a much shorter time than yourself. Like when I discovered grid working and when I heard people talking about what they were doing on their weekends, I was just like, the level of devotion and love for the earth was what struck me. I was like, oh my gosh, people are like driving great distances in their cars and doing this very, very deep, very beautiful, incredible work for the earth. And at the time, I was really tied up in like, oh, I'm going to save the environment, save the world, and I'm so worried about it all. And so that actually showed me that there was a whole different way that I could be contributing that would probably be far more beneficial than worrying, number one, or wasting a lot of my precious energy on tasks that weren't actually really making a big difference. So yeah, thank you on behalf of us all.
And there are benefits that come back, and I want to give you an example. At the end of that last one in April, we'd done all this work and we'd done all these amazing things, and we went on this little hike to this waterfall, and I hadn't had enough to eat. And we got to the bottom of this massive cliff, and all of a sudden my blood sugars just absolutely dropped, and I was really wobbly, and I'm like we've got 300 steps we've got to walk back up to get out of here. Oh, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. So anyway, we did it in stages and we were fine. And my friend was very concerned about me. I said, no, it's fine. We're just going to take it slow. And I should have eaten something before we came out. We get to the end of this hike at the car park, and there are these two gorgeous young women with this amazing bake sale with muffins and brownies and all these things. Because I'd said to my friend on the way back up, we're going to have to stop and buy some food or something. And it was all there.
I love it. So you were, like we were talking about giving and receiving, so you were gifted back exactly what you needed.
Yeah.
If there was ever a sign that you needed, not that you did need one, but there was. That's so cool. That's so amazing. I love it. Oh, stunning. Now I'm really interested about what you're sharing about being able to hear the internal hum of the earth, and then how she releases pressure, and then she feels, it sounds like she's at ease again. Because I know you've been running a really interesting container, coaching container at the moment called Crescendo, where you were speaking about accessing your internal, what did you call it? The inner voice.
Inner voice.
Is this similar in our bodies to what's going on in the earth there? Where is this internal inner voice actually showing us that hum, like where there's pressure that wants to be released? Or not? I don't know. I'm just feeling like there's a connection.
Yeah, there totally is. Because, Gaia is not a system within herself. We're all part of the same system. And yeah, we're not islands,
No. And is that something that you're actually doing in your container Crescendo though? Because I know I had a little mini taste of that with you, where it was actually finding where this inner voice within me felt like it was actually kind of locked down.
Yeah. That's the work we're doing in there, is to have a practice of going and checking in with our inner voice, feeling into how expressed that is, and opening it up. And then looking at the areas in our lives where the patterns and the conditioning that we've had are actually stopping us from expressing who we really are and who we want to be. Because I think we all have that,
Yes, we do. We silence ourselves, don't we? So it feels like this is actually sort of what you're weaving within your coaching and your healing and your sound work is in fact grid work for the body.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that, but yeah, it is. It is.
Amazing. And so what else have you got going on or cooking up, Larnie? Because it sounds like you've got a lot to offer. So you've got Crescendo running at the moment. Now, will that be available? That's a 6-week program, I believe.
Yes, it is.
6 weeks live at the moment. And is that available for people, like if they wanted to experience that as a recorded program, maybe once it's finished?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that actually, but that's
live business coaching. That's a great idea too.
I shall write that down.
Beautiful. In the future somewhere, is there some kind of sound bowl, crystal bowl, voice toning, learn about the science of sound course that we might be party to?
There could very well be. So in my group, Songlines of the Heart, I'm actually opening up Fridays. I'll be doing some sharing around the magic and how that all works, and so yeah, there'll be a little Friday morning catch up. We're live on Facebook. Yeah, and it's called The Bones of Love.
Oh, what was it? Sorry,
The Bones of Love.
Oh, I love it. Do you want to tell us a bit more about the word bones and why that's in there?
The word bones is in there because I've been doing a training in a trauma release therapy for the last 18 months called Kanika, and that works with the bones, breath, and the belief systems that we have, and using the release of those three things to release trauma from the body. So, yeah, that's where the bones come from.
Bones. Yeah, sorry.
You know, the bones are the foundation, and it's like coming back to the foundations of love, and it just felt like, because that's what we are. We're all love, and we get overlaid with these patterns and programs and conditions that are around fear and lack, and that's actually not our original condition. So we can dig through those layers, and it actually doesn't take very long at all. We can come back into a greater expression of who we are as love.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love Kanika for that. I studied the 10-month version, and we'll be diving deeper in the future as well, because it is, as you say, it's so fast, the shifts within that modality, and then the fact that we can then weave our own magic around that, that's really exciting. So the Bones of Love, and that's within Larnie's Facebook group, so we'll put the link under here. So if you would like to start a journey into the bones, into the song lines of you, because Kanika also works with the meridian system, which is the song lines of the body, and this is Larnie's jam. She's all about opening up the song lines and getting that energy flowing within. So that's an amazing, amazing opportunity. How very cool. And if somebody wants to work with you at the moment, what are the ways that they can do that?
So at the moment, I've got a VIP container coming up. That's just one-to-one, and working together on whatever it is that you're wanting to work through, anything that wants to shift or change. And so basically I bring all the tools that I have to that and support you. And it might be through your business, it might be relationship things that you want to address, it might be patterns, it might be limiting beliefs. So yeah, just depends.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I suppose it's all about relationships, isn't it? We have a relationship with every single aspect of our life, and so the heart is that space to create a new relationship and have a new experience. And that sounds amazing. So a VIP one-to-one offer, which would be very bespoke so that's someone that really wants to dive deep and be held in Larnie's amazing grandmother sound code, love medicine, sound frequency awesomeness, bone deep safety. What a beautiful combo. It just feels deep, it feels delicious, it feels nurturing is the word that I'm really getting from everything you've shared today. It just feels like a beautiful space to be in.
Thank you.
Exciting. And so if anyone's interested in working with Larnie, then just connect via DMs. Is that the easiest way? Yeah. Slide into the DMs. Slide on in. Amazing. All right. So it's been my absolute pleasure to have Larnie in my field in the last couple of years, as we've said at the start, in various different ways. And I love this, that often my soul clients become my soul sisters. I receive their medicine, they get to receive my medicine. So Larnie's been receiving the medicine of my business coaching. Would we call it business coaching? Feels like a weird name for it, but she's been in the Soul Seed, which is all about stepping into your purpose, coming home to feeling safe, to be fully expressed in your magic, and to just anchor those frequencies. A lot of what you've talked about, freeing the voice and being safe to be fully, received, seen, heard, so that you can shine your light and share your amazing magic in the world. So how has your journey in Soul Seed been, Larnie?
Soul Seed's just been amazing. And 18 months ago, I would never have imagined hopping on here with you and talking about myself and what I do and how I do it at all. It just would have been like, no, too scary.
And I think, to be fair, the first time I actually saw you, we were in a Zoom call with, I don't know, somebody else's webinar or something, and I remember seeing your name, and there was just, you were literally in the shadows. I couldn't see your face, and so it's been beautiful to watch you open and blossom, and it's almost like you are a whole new person, or you've like stepped out into the light, is what it feels like. So celebrate you.
I totally am. You know, and I credit the work that we've done in Soul Seed for that. Looking back now, I actually was borderline depressive back 18 months, 2 years ago. And, you know, I couldn't see my way to ever doing the things that I wanted to do and bring forth the things that wanted to come through, let alone sharing them on social media. I mean, good grief. And and now, get out of my way.
Get out of the way. Honestly, Larnie, when we first started working together, even just at the start of this year, I think you maybe had, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't write it down, but roughly 200 Facebook friends, or 150 or something. And now, like, I think you're at about, you've surpassed me in the over 700s, and people just are pouring into your field, which is a testament to the magnetism and the, would you say, what else is it? Is it safety? Is it, what do you think, if you had to pinpoint, what's the one major shift from that woman 18 months ago to now?
It's joy, and, you know, coming back to my own joy.
Yeah. So shifting a lot of feeling responsible for others.
Oh, totally. Yes. Way too much over responsibility. And you know, yeah, in all areas of my life, and yet not taking responsibility for me personally. And so that's been the shift. I'm just looking at my my vision board up there on the wall. It's got me first in big letters.
I love it.
Because, you know, the old me, that, oh no, that's way too selfish. But actually, if I'm not going to look after me, nobody else is. So,
and then, you know, everybody else misses out, because you well, yeah, it's so worn out, but you can't give from an empty cup. It's so true, isn't it? There is nothing left to share if we're, you know, and I've been there, done that myself too.
Yeah.
You become self-full, not selfish.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and, you know, I'm loving the life that I've got now. And I can't say that was the case 2 years ago. So Soul Seed has, you know, it's a business coaching container, but actually it's all the personal stuff you do that makes vast amounts of difference.
Yeah, I think so. I was just writing some content this week and saying, really, stepping into your purpose will actually activate you more than any other decision that you make, because it's going to require you to clean up the energy in every single area of your life. So how has it had an impact on, I guess, your journey with your heart personally?
I've actually been able to de-armor my heart in a lot of places that were really closed down, and that's shifted my relationships, not only with myself but everybody around me. It's shifted my relationship with, I've had an issue for years, well, most of my life, around judgment, and that's an ancestral piece, as well as a me piece. And it's like, I don't have that going on in my head anymore. You know, somebody presents in a certain way or something happens, and it's like I don't have those thoughts and feelings of coming up. It's just, I'm just observing them, and they're there, and there's so much freedom in that.
Yeah, and it's so crucial. It's a crucial part of us being in business and being soulpreneurs, particularly when we're putting our hearts out there and our magic and our medicine, because if we don't feel safe to receive people and community, then business doesn't grow, clients don't come in, and you'll end up closing the doors. So I love that that's been your biggest transformation, because I think I'm just going through a whole lot of client feedback, and that actually is it for me, is that most people come into my world because they want to make a really big impact and do something positive for the world, but they're often very fearful of vulnerability, and then often the biggest transformation is that they actually feel safer in their emotions and intimacy and within themselves. So it is deeply fulfilling space to hold and to witness. And it's
So
been
thank you so
amazing
much.
to witness you shine and grow and stepping out. And I know you've got some really exciting, top secret things cooking in the background. So if you want to follow along and hop into Larnie's world at some stage, then head to the Goldenfeather Alchemy page. I keep wanting to call it an academy. I'm sure there's an academy coming somewhere. Goldenfeather Alchemy page, /Academy of Sound, Light and Love. And Larnie will take good care of you. So thank you so much for joining me, Larnie. Let us know in the comments what was your biggest takeaway, and we'd love to hear from you, the viewers, what really excited you about today's discussion. Yeah. Thanks, Larnie.
Thank you, beautiful one.